Hello, and welcome to Encounter Roleplay on this fine Monday. Shout out to those of you watching live on Twitch, and if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to join us live every Monday at around 2 p.m. Eastern. We're a little late today, but hopefully back to the regular time next week with our live show. Today we are playing episode 1 of Inquisitor Season 2. So let's go around the cast and crew and figure out who we are and who we are playing. Let's start, as ever, with the wonderful Just Jason Please.
You do me such honor. Yes, Just Jason Please on Twitter, Jason Catrone in real life, and Vasily Taltos in this game. So happy to finally get to episode 1 for this new season. Just looking forward to burning some heretics, maybe actually getting to chainsaw some orcs in half, and go from there in this wonderful, wonderful, terrible, grim darkness of the far future.
Wonderful, terrible, grim darkness of the far future definitely describes this Warhammer 40k game run in Mutants and Masterminds system. Speaking of mutants and masterminds, Cleric, how are you doing today?
Mutating apparently in this heat. We're getting ready to set some records here in Vegas, so it's a lot of fun. Hi, I'm Kat. I'm at Cleric of Cord, and Sifenia Grigori, the Sister of Battle, is dead. She's was at the bottom of a lake of acid. So this season, I will be playing an Adeptus Mechanicus by the name of Genitor Albucasis, who is more machine than flesh.
Speaking of more machine than flesh, the mastermind of our game, Pope, how are you?
Oh, there's just this. I'm delighted to be back. Absolutely delighted, thrilled to be back. But there's just been this creeping sense of dread since session 0, and it's here. It's here. Hi everybody, Pope World Build or World Build on Twitch, Pope World Build on the Twitters. So happy to be back playing our newly minted Inquisitor, Kifkin Severus Dracon, and seeing where all of this horrific stuff goes. Brand new season, brand new terror. Let's get into it.
I, of course, am back playing Matilda, the Inquisitor, who's not an Inquisitor, but maybe don't tell her that. Psyker, genuine menace, mind walker, and sharing the captain's quarters with her good friend Donnie. How are you doing, Bastian?
I'm doing good. Busy days, busy weeks, but we're here again. Happy to play. Well, not play, happy to lead, of course. You'll be playing the game of not Thrones. Anyway, yeah, I'm good. I shaved, as you can see, so now I look like 19 years old.
Hey.
Yeah. But I'm not, so that's always surprising, I guess. Yeah, and you? How are you?
I am doing very well, and I'm enjoying our baby-faced Emperor. Welcome back. So, before we do get into today's show, I would be down for seeing fake beards, not bake beards. That's something else entirely. Before we get into all of that, I would like to remind everyone about our sponsors. This week, we are also sponsored by Gamely, an app on Google Play which aims to connect tabletop RPG players to one another based on location. You can see the players closest to you and those who are interested in games in common with you. Gamely is free to download via the Google Play Store and will be available on iOS in the fall of this year. So go and check them out. That's Gamely. Of course, the ever-present Fantasy Grounds are virtual tabletop of choice. All of the beautiful maps and roles you see done using Fantasy Grounds. So if you want to try that out for free, go over to fantasygrounds.com and you can do that right now. Well, maybe not right now. Stay here for now and then go later. You can also get all of your miniatures from Whaling Games. Go to whalinggames.co.uk and get yourself a huge range of D&D, Warhammer, and 40k minis and more for up to 20% off of regular retail price. Of course, shout out to our sponsor, Tabletop Loot, who sell amazing dice. When we hit 20 retweets, you can be in for a chance to win a set of dice. So get retweeting. Hopefully that link will be appearing in chat for you right now. Finally, I will remind you that you can interact with today's game. You can donate to affect the game, giving the players nat 1s, nat 20s, wild magic surges, and that table of pets is still here. So send me another mind mammoth. I need one. I need like a little herd. I need a collection. Also, if you love a moment during today's show, clip it. We like using it for highlight reels and sharing it on Twitter. So without any further ado, let's get into this Warhammer 40k universe and head back to our wonderful ship, to cursed helms and more.
Yeah, as last week we left off the session 0 with the introduction of our new member, the janitor. So I see I should select the correct title, which I will do in a moment once you're going. And we had a small investigation of the sliver by an actual specialist, being the gender played by Cleric of Court. And they sent a report back to the ship before going off to visit and investigate the helmet they found in the ruins, well, not ruins, in the bunker underneath the last planet they visited. And we will go to the ship with Matilda, Kifkin, and Donnie in a room receiving the report. And it might be cool to read it in the voice of the janitor, or read it out loud. Fight! Or just pick one.
Sure. Let's review this report that we just got from our wonderfully creepy friend. Yay. Okay. Oh, yeah, right. It's been a while since I've read Mechanicus reports. Yeah, there is no truth in flesh, only betrayal. Yeah, there is no strength in flesh, only weakness. There is no consistency in flesh, only decay. There is no certainty in flesh, but death. Can I get to the actual, report? Okay. Apparently, our heretical sliver is formed from an alloy of several metals, one of which is copper that comes from Safe. The damn orc planet. Frontier outpost, several initial settlements, expeditionary resource teams, and this particular form of copper. Marauding bands of orc pirates, freebooters. Initially, it is not conductivity that is the issue, but superconductivity, relating specifically to the Higgs field. Okay, this is getting into the high-level stuff where I kind of lose things. So, Higgs and the Higgs boson, Higgs fields exist throughout space. Weak force of bosons are massive and yet have no mass. Give them mass and the range becomes very small. Okay, that's going to take me a while to wrap my head around. Intimation, this is required for atoms to form and the nuclear force reactions within stars. Huh. Okay.
Kifkin, if this alloy is available on a planet that the orcs have control of, is it not possible that they are also going to be using it and its properties?
Good news, bad news with orcs. Good news. Maybe. Orcs are scavengers by their very nature. Whatever they can harvest off a battlefield, they will orcify. Also seen within the orcoid species is a bizarre means of experimentation. They are able to do things with technology that, given the laws of physics as we know them, shouldn't be able to be done. I remember a report from one Mechanicus Magos that was going over a battlefield of orcoid weapons, and they found something that was quite similar to a grease dispenser that, according to field reports, was firing high-velocity rounds. When taken apart, it was empty. It was literally just a grease gun. Empty. But it was firing high velocity rounds. So they're weird already. And if they do manage to find any sort of artifacts, remnants, what have you, they will not work as intended. They will work modified by however they manage to work it.
Doesn't that remind you of someone, Kifkin? Modified, strange.
There's orcification, and then there's heresy. That heresy. They're similar, but vastly different. Xenos heresy versus that which shall not be named. But if we're going to get to the bottom of that which shall not be named, it looks like we're going to have to go and play nice with the greenskins and drive them off this planet. That or bribe them, which... short-term solution, but not long-term. It depends on the infestation level.
You have reached out to the Admiral?
I've already filed paperwork for sending an astropathic message, but given the fact that things have been already wonky in this area of space, I don't know if it's been received. It'll probably take at least another 2 weeks before we find out if it's delayed or actually on time. But we should probably go over this report, make sure I also file a few more things. Apparently, there are a number of conflicting rumors already aboard planet about your validity, so I'm going to have to double down on the paper trail. Shore that up, make sure that the new you is most definitely new and your old you is most definitely dead. Then moving forward, we need to get the safe quickly. But before we leave, I want to acquire as much war material as possible. We're probably going to need at least a refractor field or a Rosarius of some sort to equip with someone who's going to be going near the front lines. A stray shot from any number of orcoid weapons can severely remove chunks of flesh.
We should make the most of our friends then.
Isn't that what weapons are for in the first place?
There's weapons that the Imperium of Man uses, yes. And then there's orcoid capabilities. I am fairly certain you are not familiar with the orcoid strains of squig, a subspecies of the orcoid race.
Kifkin, before you give us the information, why not prepare a short primer and we can do what we can to prepare the ship and the armaments while you manage our friend in the investigation of the helm?
Sure. Oh, and things should be open for being able to requisition on planet. I've already done the number of handshake protocols to do so, and whatever personal coffers you have, use them. I heavily suggest investing either in Melta, Plasma, or Flame weaponry. We don't want to get any spores on the ship. An orcoid infestation spacebound is almost impossible to get rid of.
As you wish.
So, we aren't flying into Orc territory, right? We're flying to an outpost.
We are flying into
Orc freebooters. Oh. I'm going to need a lot of blue paint and fancy hats. He turns and leaves.
The second you make someone an Inquisitor, they always want a fancy hat.
You didn't wear a fancy hat.
That's because I loaned mine to Kipkin when we came to the planet.
Okay. So, is this where we have the janitor and Vasily enter the ship? Or unless they want to talk on the journey here.
I think that Vasily, more than anything, would be, again, that sort of soldier mode. Like, he wouldn't mind the buzzing of the servo skulls or just that whole situation, just with Janitor Albucasis, like, nearby. But he'd definitely be, like, eyes front, don't wander, don't tarry anywhere. So, unless Albucasis has something to say.
Really, you should consider these upgrades. It would do much for you.
I'm sure it would in your eyes. Yes.
I mean, that leg, the limb would be gone.
I understand that, but I would rather keep my service as pure and human as possible for the longest time, until such time as I feel the Emperor's call for modification.
Well, the Emperor is perfect. He needs no modification. The rest of us must strive towards that.
His call to modify myself, not... Cut the sentence short.
Well, you have my recommendations. Should you change your mind, and I would be happy to perform them.
Just burning a hole through his pocket.
Probably literally.
Yeah, like... just waiting for the chance to spark up his flamer and just...
And burn her? Like...
No, just burn the recommendations.
Okay.
But as Albucasis, like, they step onto the ship, Vasily, I think, would be bringing up the rear and just, again, trying to not touch the servo skulls, which would be bad, as has been explained.
Oh, well, not that bad. It could be worse.
It would be pretty bad.
Could be, but probably not. So you will take me to this helmet.
They will certainly have cause to show you it at a certain point. I don't know if it's entirely necessary that I be present, but I suppose.
Then who will
be...
take me to the helmet? I'm here on this ship. The helmet is here on this ship. Is that not why you brought me here?
A fair enough point. Is there a Vox caster anywhere nearby so that I can get a hold of Kifkin?
You have your own Vox on you, which should be able to reach.
Yes. Kifkin?
You just need the hail. Yeah.
Yes, Vasily.
So good to hear from you, darling. Where exactly is the helmet?
It is the containment vault below the medical level, near the bilge.
Wonderful. Our guest is here. Meet us there.
Albucasis has already accessed the ship schematics and has started walking off on their way towards the location.
Sending whatever servers we have to the location in case there has to be an internal purge, and then hitting down. Also picking up a plasma pistol from the armory as he goes down.
Yeah, you have the janitor already?
No, in case anyone gets possessed or that thing animates, the plasma gun will probably take care of the problem. Fingers crossed. If
the
not, I can
janitor,
just explode.
the janitor and his service calls are already examining the helmet by the time Kipkin arrives.
Vasily will be standing like right next to the door. Like, if ever something goes wrong, he wants to make sure it doesn't get out.
All right.
I see you've made your way here and past the vault already.
Oh, well, is that not why you brought me on board your ship?
Going to have to go over containment protocols again.
Kivkin, where is Matilda?
Oh, Matilda's with Donnie. I believe they're having a conversation about orcoids, the species, and the need for fire weapons. But in the meantime, there's nothing to worry. Pulls out plasma pistol, sets it just close to overloading.
Fair enough.
That would make things interesting, yes. Don't worry about your containment protocols. I'll just override them myself. And continues going.
So,
Did you
enlighten
have a
us as to
question?
the heresy. Yeah. I want to know just how old the helmet is, composition, if it's familiar to the sliver, any Xenos biological traces, etc., and whether or not I have to detonate this gun.
No biotraces, same as the sliver. It is of the same alloy. It's just a much larger example of it.
There's an armor set in this system. There's a goddamn set of it. God Emperor damn set this. And you said it's superconductive.
Well, no, it's the. How much do you know about superconductivity?
Use
Particle
it
physics.
Used in superconductors and cogitators, better than gold, sort of a long trace thing for making the Dark Age technology version of Hell weaponry.
Beyond that, as in quarks, bosons, Higgs field. It was all in my report.
I'm an Inquisitor and previously an adept when it comes to particle physics. Anyone who reads too much within the administratum usually gets a bolter to the skull, so I know enough.
Well, apparently not, but that's fine. I can tell you what you need to know. What we're dealing with here is something that has no mass, but continues on. And then once it is given mass, well, then it. I'll write another report.
Do it as though you're doing a primer for someone within the Scala Progenium. I find that style makes it so even frontline fighters can understand it.
Or the unvarnished truth. That also is preferable for soldiers on the front line.
Scala. Anyway, from what I'm understanding, this thing has next to zero friction, and as a superconductor, most laser weaponry will find it just glances off the damn thing.
Most likely, yes. Yes. It. Oh dear. Particle physics. Higgs field. Some things don't have mass until you give them mass, and That's what this seems to do with particles, and it the Higgs field is everywhere, everywhere. Yes, everywhere. Covers space. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. You take a boson, the Emperor particle, for example. It has no mass. It is massive, but it has no mass. It travels freely. It is everywhere. You give it mass using superconductivity. You spin it up very, very fast. And then, boom, it has mass, and all of a sudden, it can only go a very short range.
So, similar technology to grav guns.
Yes, but that it seems to be how these slivers work. In that they are everywhere until they have mass, and then they are very short range.
Gravimetric suit, highly reflective for laser weaponry. What I'm hearing is Dark Age technology, prescribed. We need to acquire every last piece of the armor, separate it, put it within inquisitorial vaults, locked down, with the largest piece being sent to Mars. Got it. And just
Well
start-
done. That you are truly one of the brightest of the first-year students.
I try to stop Kifkin on the way out, but just
What?
We're dealing with something from the Dark Ages.
Dark Age technology, most likely. You familiar with grav weaponry, grav guns? They sometimes have them on chimeras.
Yes, eminently
Good
familiar.
moving stuff around, including like throwing boulders at orcs. The very same
Or throwing
technology.
orcs themselves.
The very same technology is within the metallic traces within this armor. Plus, because of superconductivity, most of your standard weaponry within the armament of the Imperium would be null and void. It would just bounce right off of it. Or slide around it. Due to superconductivity and the fact that this has next to no mass unless mass is imparted upon it, it'll just slide right off. It also means that because it's superconductive, and I believe this thing will have a power pack on its main torso section, it can accelerate itself through the usage of gravity manipulation. It means that you could have someone wearing this suit punch a tank to death without using a power fist, which it might also have.
So why assemble the armor if we know its danger in complete form, and we have one piece of it? Send this to the core of some star and be done with it.
That might actually do absolutely nothing but mildly inconvenience things. No, we need to grab every single piece. A gauntlet, if someone can just cobble together a power source, which even my stupid ass can do, all of a sudden you would have something that is twice as powerful as even an Adeptus Astartes power fist. Do you want that in the hands of heretics? I don't think so. We need to acquire every single last piece of this artifact and then have it locked within separate Imperial vaults all across inquisitorial control within the Imperium and send the biggest thing to Mars, where it will get lost as some Magos' pet project.
Fair enough point, I suppose. But the other pieces, where would we find them?
Scattered throughout this entire system. What we need to do is find something similar to the temples that we found on the previous planet. Any trace of ancient Xenos artifactory, etc., is going to be scattered throughout here. This is sort of like the particular case when I believe Inquisitor Marion Hellstrom within the Dark Reaches was dealing with the skeleton fuckers. Got it.
Necron.
And well done. And one of their pieces of prescribed Xenos technology that needed to be torn up and locked away.
Fair enough, but Kifkin, we didn't find the temples. Lest we forget
No.
it was cultists. first. And if they've
Yes.
already found one piece,
The good news is with cultists, they become obsessive once they find one thing. I believe the cult thought that since they found a helm and whatever other sliver this came from our Thalanum 3, they're primarily focused on going through every little bit and trace within Thalanum. But they have feelers distributed throughout the entire system, as we found previously before with our sliver-embedded jerk. They have no quite idea as to its full purposes and are using it with the help of some dark patrons to do things that it was not intended to do.
so do we follow the leads or go for the patrons?
I don't punch at that level. What we do is we go to safe, find as much of the ore that's probably being found and processed, stop the processing until we can get a full Astartes contingent out here to this section of space to lock this planet down and have it become a throne world for them. They can use the stuff to process, and I would trust an Astartes group to have control over a prescribed mineral than anybody else. In the meantime, we have to drive off the orcs and shut down production.
Shut down production? How do you intend to drive off the orcs then?
Rather simply, things that orcs want: shinies and a fight. I acquire shinies to get them to talk, and then I aim them at what I want fought.
Assuming they don't fight you.
Oh, they're going to fight me, but then I'm going to kill the biggest and nastiest one, and I can also talk like them.
I look forward to your grand failure. And I pat him on the shoulder and then go to the armory just to start freshening up my chainsword skills.
It's nice to know that the people underneath me have such faith. I'll remember that when I send the next report back as to where your companions were. I believe you had a fondness for Cassandra?
Close, but no. Just keep walking.
Right. Send all the females for extra processing.
I'll stop at the end of the hallway because I think I might have heard that. Turn. Kivkin, I ask you this in all honesty. Have you seen the amount of damage that a Mordian Iron Guard regiment can truly do?
I've seen the reports.
Reports.
The Mordian
Reports are
Iron Guard.
marvelous.
The Mordian Iron Guard is but one tool. If I wanted to actually devastate the planet that we were on previously, I only had to send one Calixtus assassin. That entire place would have been exterminated by a single individual. The Mordian Iron Guard is a blunt weapon to stall everything that is done throughout this entire Imperium is based on math, bean counting. The loss of 1 billion lives is considered a rounding error in my circles. The Guard is great. The Guard is made of the best and bravest in the Imperium. But when you're dealing with trillions upon trillions, it's just another number.
But those numbers are exceptional. And whatever petty tortures you might inflict upon them, they will endure, as humanity endures. As you said, they are the bravest among us. Do whatever you feel is right.
When I say something, Vasily, it's not failure. It's not failure until I have to erect another cathedral to another lost member of my crew. And then he leaves.
Expenses are acceptable. Loss is acceptable. He's saying this to himself at this point. Failure is not. Failure is not. Brush up on my chainsword skills.
So are you actually leading the janitor to the helmet at some point in the near future? Or are you guys moving to somewhere else on the ship?
Leaving the janitor alone with the helmet now that I know what it does.
Okay.
Yeah.
They can have all sorts
Same.
of toying with it.
All right.
Unless all of a sudden something just, bursts out of the vault here, it should be fine.
And Vasily was only meant to guard Albucasis, until they got on the ship, so...
Yeah. Okay.
Freeze a bird now.
So Vasily is going to the dojo now?
Aye, up.
Yeah. Kifkin, where's Kifkin going?
Kifkin's going straight to the helm. He's going to talk with Sanctinius and see about starting protocols as well as plotting to get to safe. Which is going to take time because I'm going to want them to avoid as much of the turbulence between here and there. So I'd best get them plotting using whatever charts we've got. Then taking a shuttle, plus whoever will come with me, back down to the planet and be as open as possible and going, "Hi, I want you to show me all of the really good shiny stuff that burns orc flesh."
Okay, yeah. Matilda? What's Matilda doing with Donnie?
I imagine they're kind of talking through things and discussing, I guess, options that he would understand as an arbite for preparing for this sort of thing. He would have gone through training for managing and combat and stuff.
Yeah, so...
And
yeah.
I was going to say, and if Kipkin wants company, then Matilda would go with.
Okay. Yeah, which would be after preparing for... You would sense him coming to the bridge at some point anyway. Especially if the navigator is waiting there at the maps. So we will have the janitor have a shot at investigating the helmet first. So, Cleric. Kipkin, can you describe how the helmet is contained?
The helmet has been primarily contained within a stasis field. Within that field is a case made of lead, covered in purity seals, and then inside it's nestled within a foam container.
Okay. So you find a stasis field with a container inside, where they leave you.
Well, let's get started. Talking to the servo skulls, and all of a sudden, having been around people, suddenly, instead of communicating in brief bursts of static, they've started talking to themselves.
Yeah, chattering like
themselves.
The techno lingo. Is one of them also printing whatever you're saying out loud, like keeping record? For you?
No.
Okay.
No. There's a recording, but it is not printed until it is requested to be printed. Because, but it's a lesson that was learned. Let's put it that way. So yeah, they immediately begin examining the stasis field, examining the seals and the containment. There is a visual recording. Sorry, that's my dog growling, because she's upset at me for waking her up.
It's the humming of the stasis field in the background.
Yes, there we go. There's a visual recording that is going on, however. that is to be reviewed later as necessary. And again, scans, whatever scans can be done without disturbing the stasis field
It
are
basically
done.
blocks out anything but visual, fake visual inspection of the box that's inside.
Then
So
Albucasis will take down the stasis field, yeah.
Okay. It leaves you with a box with extra linings.
Simple enough to open. The arms come out, and it's opened. The servo skull's again hovering and recording as the box is opened.
It's not a simple strong box. It's more one of those kinds where you twist a switch and then several locking mechanisms open to reveal the insides. And inside, wrapped in cushioning, you find the helmet. It's of ornate, ancient design, like archaic armor. Of the same material as the sliver, but as a whole, it looks more like a matte silver purplish material rather than something bright as they described from the Heretic. And it looks, the pure looks of it it's very, very well made, like refined, but there's no inscription on it, not at all. It's just matte.
Tool markings, signs of forging, anything like that.
Not with the bare eye.
Okay. Then the deeper scans, the deeper examination begins with a very almost microscopic examination of the surface.
Mm-hmm.
Again, looking for tool marks, that type of thing. And then thermoscans, metallurgic scans, and the word just left me. Electron spectrum.
Electroconductivity? Oh, E-spectrum, yeah.
Yeah, E-spectrum. Again, it's an alloy. I know one specific strain of copper that's used in the alloy. I need to identify the other different metals within the alloy and their specific strains and their points of origin. And actually, given the size of it, quite interested in the production.
Yeah, it's the size was slightly larger than human size, and
also running it through a database to see if there was armor of this specific size and type that was used before.
Yeah, to get intel from the database back, you'll have to run it through the database physically. Get there and run it through. So you can get to that later if you want. What you with your eidetic memory though, there's a cat moaning. Like, oh, he wants food. But you don't remember any specific planet here having this design, so to say. It's not from any era you remember reading on, but you might pick up something in the database still. Let's have a look. Yeah, you can do an investigation or expertise metallurgy on it using improvised tools to get some sort of extra reading, as you don't have your huge analysis machines here. You will have a -2 penalty, but you can do the checks.
Okay, so what is it you would like me to roll?
Let's have a look. I can see what you have, so I'll just. You can roll me an expertise tech or technology. Technology is higher for you.
Yep.
A -2 penalty for not having the real tools, but you have improvised tools, which allows you to do it.
Okay, so that's a 32 minus 2, 430.
With the 30, you quickly, as you zoom in, you do get similar readings as you had in your office on the sliver, which led you to the copper strain. You also get an iron strain, which is actually from your planet, which is where were we again? It's a different tab. K minus 6, but it's so rare on the planet currently because this planet has been stripped of all resources before they built the forges on top. So it predates the Mechanicus settlement here, or predates the exhaustion of the mines here.
Can I age the metal as well? Once I've determined the composition, want to determine the age of the strains.
Yeah, let's put Imperial presence in the system at around 600 years, Earth years, and with K minus being one of the first true settlements, also one of the first to be exhausted, which allowed for the conversion to a forge world, furnace world actually. So it predates that.
Okay.
But you'd have to run it by any records of the material to get a more precise age.
Okay.
And the next thing you investigated was the magnetic field, if I'm correct. One of the things you also inspected. It has, if you look at like the spectrum, which is like have you seen the pictures of the black hole which NASA made? In a similar image, you see that it does not per se draw in any other objects, but it is the field around it is very still, like. If you can try to probe it and see what happens if you dare.
That is something that they will try with the sliver under a more controlled environment, in a more controlled environment.
Yeah. But it's if you would imagine there being like these swirls of magnetic energy everywhere around every object, and as you move your arm, you see the servos having their own sparks. Basically, there's like this small filament around the helmet, which kind of deflects any waves flying towards it. But to find out how exactly, you would need to use more. Yeah, you would need to go for a controlled experiment or try it.
Yeah, we'll do a controlled experiment later with the sliver. Set up a separate containment field.
But that's magnetism. That's not gravity. Right. So just to be clear, but using the visual image of the black hole.
Mm-hmm.
What else were you investigating on it?
It was a mass spectrometer that I was thinking of.
Okay.
So again, breaking down to the molecular level.
Okay.
What I'm dealing with here.
Again, you don't have your large machines here. I'll have you roll this separately.
Okay. Well, another technology?
Actually, no, didn't you already get the material? One of the...
Well, you gave me iron. Is it just an iron and copper alloy then? Are those the only two metals identified?
There's more materials, but you think you will need more time and more machines to get deeper into it.
Okay. All right.
Mostly more time to calculate and large computators to do the calculations.
Okay. And then looking for any tool marks or chisel marks. Was this thing forged? Was this thing carved? Was it molded?
The best you can guess, at this point is that it was probably cast in the mold.
Okay.
But there's no cast marks visually. You would actually have to zoom in several levels to get any marks of casting. It's so fine.
Okay. And it's slightly larger than what a human would wear. Knowing knowing the anatomy,
30% larger.
So knowing the anatomy of a human's
Mhm.
head, knowing the anatomy of the different xenos, could I extrapolate what, or was it a human head that it was made for, of a larger human? Are we talking an orc? Are we talking something else completely? What head fit this helmet?
Well, it would fit the head of any human as well, because it's like 20-30% larger than you would expect. Could either be a really large person, like they're, a bodybuilder plus. Maybe Space Marines could fit it with proper padding, but it was not made for that size. There's no... The padding inside is completely gone. Whatever it was, it's not there.
So I
to
can't
wear it
determine.
comfortably, you would need to fill in the inside.
Right, but was it made for a human head? Was it made for an orc head? Given that these heads have different shapes.
Mm-hmm. It was not made. It was made for a human shape.
Okay, a human shaped skull.
Yeah.
Just larger than what is commonly
what you're
made.
used to. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was trying to get at.
So, you can make your own guesses from that.
We'll definitely be
which
searching.
I'll let you do.
Yeah, we'll definitely be searching for known or recorded instances of humanoids that were 20 to 30% larger than known humans.
Mm-hmm. Out of the top of your head, you know that there are some planets where there's exceptionally large humans, but none in this region at this time.
Okay. And then, definitely going back through history, knowing that this alloy was most likely made well over 600 years ago. So, or at least with materials from well over 600 years ago. So, yeah. Can she date the? Can they date the overall age of the artifact?
No.
Okay.
No, not the only dating you can do at this time is the knowledge of the iron, so it's at least older than 600 years.
Okay. All right. So I imagine this is going to take them a while as they're doing all of this, making all the recordings, processing, making notes.
Yeah.
They will be absolutely lost in this.
Yeah, this will take you quite some time just to get these early reports. Check. Let's see. So I think we should take a look at Matilda and Donnie while Vasily and Kivkin were introducing the janitor before Kivkin goes to the navigator, and then we'll link up with Kivkin after. So Matilda, the others they went to the hold, and Donnie and Matilda are left in the captain's quarters, I think. Yeah.
We've got good access up there because Matilda, if you remember, had screens set up, keeping an eye on her ship and the things going on. And so she always thinks of it as her base of operations. They go through between them, as I kind of mentioned, the strategic stuff. And then when they run out of that to talk about, because they need to obviously move forward and acquire things, Matilda sits on the edge of the bed, and it's kind of quiet as Donnie changes, preparing for whatever it is that we're going to go do next. And she says, when I was a little girl on my home planet, a great comet passed through the sky. Only it didn't go as normal comets do, didn't keep going, crashed into our world. And from that comet, a great infestation began. I didn't know at the time it was orcs, I just knew it was something strange that I had never seen before and that people were afraid. And then the war began. And it just seemed to go on. There was always something and someone to fight the orcs, each other. People who came to the planet to deal with the orcs. And then everything turned to a chaos. And I remember being packed onto a ship with my brother. Everyone was being evacuated. We were barely clear of the planet when I watched a ship, this great dark ship, come into view. No one would tell me what it was. No one wanted to talk about what it was. We slowly went further and further away until the planet was just this speck. Until it was gone. I knew it was there still. And then there was a great light. They destroyed the planet. No one told me that, but I knew what it meant. I knew what I saw. They turned the planet into a war zone. And then when they couldn't win the war, they just destroyed it. They made it gone. Not a problem anymore. There were the fragments of the planets scatter out, drawn to the moon, to other planets, towards the stars. That was the first time I heard a voice in my head. It was the first time the Emperor spoke to me. Told me it was time to leave behind a planet. To join in something more. That he would win the war for all of us. But I had to help him. I'd heard people's voices before in my head. I'd been able to reach into theirs to see dreams, to see what they were thinking. When my father would catch me trying to sneak extra biscuits from the kitchen. When he knew I was there and pretended not to. And other times when he was thinking about leaving. About the bodies that he had seen twisted in the barbed wire. I don't know if I ever really saw an orc, or if I just saw what other people saw. The monsters that walked the planet, that destroyed the planet. And now we are to fight them again. Or make a deal with them. That was Kivkin's other suggestion.
Do you even want to go there?
This is the thing I've learned about the Emperor, is that he doesn't give a shit what any of us want. The Emperor wants what the Emperor wants. This is the thing, Donnie. Everyone thinks we are fighting the heretics here. But what the Emperor wants, he wants to take what is theirs and make it his. We're going to the other side, you know. Soon.
So, the comet in your dreams, it was this same comet as the one you saw above your planet?
How do you know about my dreams, Donnie?
I remember the crash as we went off the road. I had a dream. I think it was your dream.
That's right, you were all in my head. You all had very distinct impressions, I'm sure. I have seen other comets since that one. I once saw one with 2 tails. It's an old sign, you know. A comet with 2 tails. But maybe that is what you saw.
Yeah. You do notice him thinking of more than one dream. More than that one dream. And yes, all I've been trained for is how to stall an invasion. How am I to fight the orcs? You've never fought them, if I understood that correctly.
No, not directly. I was a child then. I've fought other things. I rely on my tricks. Although your instruction with weaponry has been very helpful. Kifkin knows ways, and I am sure Vasily also has his input. They both seem drawn to the flame, and that would certainly work well, I imagine, against these strange biological creatures. It works against most things.
Do you see them as tricks, not as weapons?
I suppose if I saw my mind as a weapon, that would make me just a weapon. And Safenia reminds us what happens when you're a tool in a war. You win, or you are destroyed. She is lucky she was not used by the other side. I never want to be just a weapon. Just an Inquisitor. I want to stay a person. Because what is the point of all of this, of the fighting, if it is not so that we can be more than just weapons, than just soldiers, than just scared children watching things be destroyed? Is there not a time and a place where we'll get to make things again? Things other than for destruction, than for modification and improvement of the weapons that we are? Don't you think there will be an age when we can be people again?
I don't know. All I know is I'm probably a weapon now. Just hope I last long enough to be useful.
Well, if that is what you would like. You would be very useful to me.
He nods, and he puts the uniform back on and starts armoring up.
Matilda will stand and move from the bed to beside him and help kind of fit the last clasps and things. Vasily likes to polish his weapons. Maybe we can find a way to polish you.
And that's when you see on the screen Kifkin coming back to the bridge, to walking towards the navigator, who's drinking something with some servitors next to him.
Maybe later. It seems our new Inquisitor is ready. Let's go to the bridge.
And that's when Matilda and Donnie come out of the captain's quarters onto the bridge. At around the same time, Kifkin reaches the navigator. Let me put on something more cheerful, I'd say. So, the new navigator, what's his name? His name is... Yeah. He is gray-haired. He doesn't have many implants. There's some replacement parts, broken elbow, and the kinds, but none as extensive as your last navigator. This one is relatively fresh, so to say. He's balding, and he greets you as you come up to the bridge.
Salutations, Sanctinius. You need a charter course.
Yes, sir. Where would you like to go?
We need to get to Seif, but I want to make sure that as long as we're in the warp, it's smooth sailing. Avoid any known warp storms along the route. Also, I want to make sure to get there using the standard points for entry within the system. I want to keep this as safe as possible.
He turns around in his chair and starts looking at overview map which he has in front of him, the sector, and has a thinking. Yes, sir. I can. Of Lord. No, it's sir, right? It's not Lord yet.
Not yet.
Sir. I can take the safest route we know of the sector, and it will take some extra time to get there. But there's currently no warp storms going on. None of a scale that would disrupt those routes.
Good. Time's fine. We're going to need time to train. Thank you, Sanctinius. Donnie, Matilda, I'm guessing you went over Orcoid vulnerabilities?
Madam?
We
Sir?
did what we could with the system.
Okay. I'm going to take a shuttle down to the planet and grab as much as I can. We're going to need plasma weaponry, incendiary grenades, flamers, whatever they've got in store that can light them up. I do not want a single spore getting on board. I'm also going to rewrite protocols while we're in transit. Anyone coming to or out of the ship that's going down to Seif or anywhere else in that system is going to have to be decontaminated before getting back on board.
Very well. I will accompany you if you would like.
That would be helpful.
Donnie says, do I still need to guard the janitor while it's doing its investigation? That's why I suited up, right?
I would like you to keep an eye on the janitor. And then
Yeah.
Matilda looks at Kipkin, realizing Kipkin's meant to be in charge.
Yeah, no. Donnie, you should stay on board. The janitor is going to be less of a threat, and I don't think the helmet, until other assembled pieces, or if it gets poked with a sort of incredibly high voltage, is going to be much of a threat yet. Now knowing at least more of what it is. Matilda, you would have haven't gotten a briefing about a particular species of, well, subspecies of human during the Great Crusade called the Interrex, would you?
I am not familiar, no. Is it important?
It's something that helps explain what we're dealing with.
All I know is that that helmet is a creation of heresy, that it has a lot of power. I can see from your face you are terrified of the damn thing. So, Donnie, do not let the curious janitor put the thing on their head. And Kipkin explained to me about these Itorex, whatever it was you said, as we go and we get the guns.
Yeah, definitely bring whatever plasma weaponry we have on board. If we have problems down on planet, it'll blow through whatever metallic pieces are made out of whatever heretics might be in this sector. I'm fairly certain that most of the wonderful people down on this furnace planet are lovely mechanicum, but at this point we have to assume that there's at least one heretic for every 100 people.
I agree with that evaluation.
On this planet?
Every single one in the system, Donnie. Every single one.
It is a precaution to assume. We never know who we are talking to.
Will you then be taking Vasily for security?
Vasily's training. Give him some time. Interacting with the janitor.
I will send word if the Inquisitor and I require additional assistance.
Oh, this is going to be a fun ride. And then just heads off towards the shuttles.
And Matilda will just squeeze Donnie's hand and just say, do not let them put the helmet on.
He nods with an intense yes in his head. Yes, definitely.
Or on any servitor. Or anything. No heads in the helmet.
I got it. No helmet on any head. Correct.
Matilda looks up at the screen and there's the helmet sitting on one of the servo skulls that's flying around.
Matilda will just kiss his cheek and just head on out after Kipkin. Time to go and acquire some weaponry.
Okay.
Yeah. Shopping trip.
Travel will take some time. Where do you ask for an escort? Like spaceship security, planet security, Skitari?
Not gonna deal with Skitari. That means dealing. Actually, I know who I need to talk to. If they're on planet. I'm going to first see along the registry if there's any secutors on planet. If not, I want obliterators. I'm either getting the guys that deal with internal security for the Mechanicus, or I'm dealing with the people that make the really big guns.
You can get human security easily.
Cool. Secutors it is. I'll deal with the guys who make Big Daddies look small. All right. Greetings and salutations. I'm Inquisitor Kifkis Severus Dracon. I am here on behalf of the Inquisition to see about getting ready with dealing with an external threat to your Forge world on safe. We are requiring whatever weapons that
we need
have.
Firepower, and lots of it. The bigger the gun, the better. The more fire it puts out, the better. We require it now.
Plasma weapons, flame weapons, melta weapons. Anything that can deal with spores on a larger scale.
So you're, are you requisitioning a team to take with you there then?
Sure.
Or
want
was
them-
it just for on-planet security while you were going down to which I was?
I will happily requisition a secular team outfitted with plasma weaponry and whatever defoliant grenades they've got, because that works under the fungal spores of the orcoids as well.
I adopted one Arbite. Kifkin wants a whole team. All right, guys, make note of who has the most pets here.
Well, I mean, he did lose his bomb.
He did.
So he's just looking for
Rest in
something to
peace, care
replace it.
package.
And
Yes.
Vasily has his flamers, so he's helping.
Well,
He's
I
present.
think basically the idea is we want to raid an armory, and we will take a mini army if we can get one.
Okay.
5 secutors is the equivalent of a squad of 10 imp guard.
Yeah.
They're more heavily armored, and they all come with inbuilt melee weapons, typically a drill.
Let's see. Is there anything you would like to trade off for that, like favors or?
Sure, I can make certain that their next imperial tithe is set back by 100 years.
Okay, that will get you 2 squads for your.
He is very
for
good at paperwork.
One of them tasked with the security of the janitor, and the other one free to use in your mission.
Fantastic. That'll do. Also, whatever, Matilda, I know you're not necessarily the fondest for guns, but if they happen to have a power weapon of some sort and a plasma gun, I'd suggest you take them.
Very well. Do you intend to bring the janitor with us?
Oh yes, I'm going to need that individual to verify the artifact that I'm fairly certain we're going to find unsafe.
I find the janitor unsafe, but very well.
Puns. I miss puns. Anyway. Yeah, no, if you have any of those defoliant grenades, we're going to need a lot of those. A lot of those. Slow working, but they get the job done. Just when we get back on board Matilda, I know we're both quite so fond of him, but drill with Vasily. Especially with the plasma.
Do you have an improved flamethrower type weapon? Flame sword thing? Giant and flaming will please him much.
No, I know what Vasily would like. If we can find it here. It might actually be here because this is how the system was founded. You guys have an eviscerator?
Kifkin, ask the man if they have it. There we go. Eviscerator.
Basically, you get down to a Mechanicus armory, and it doesn't hold any power weapons because pretty much any power weapon is owned by someone. So you'll if you know someone that has one, and you can try to loan it as a favor, but they're not going to have them in armories. They're legends of their own. You can, however, let's see, an eviscerator. What does it do again?
The eviscerator is a greatsword version of a chainsword. It's double-edged.
It
Yeah,
eviscerates?
they do have one.
That's what it says on the tip.
several. It's basically a two-handed chain sword. So, let's
It's
see.
used by zealots.
The way I imagine
within-
this whole thing,
Let's see.
is
Actually,
going,
no,
is Kifkin
they're-
saying long-winded explanations, and Matilda's just like, this thing.
So basically, as you ask for that, the clerk just starts going through logs, and he doesn't know what to look for because they don't have it.
Okay. No, this.
You would need to. You can find it with Adeptus, like either Sororitas or Astartes. So it's kind
We
of
had
Alright.
another
Space
contact
Marines.
on the planet, right? Am I wrong
Yeah.
that we had a contact on the planet?
The fun thing is, if we go to my advantages of old, I have both connected and contacts. I know someone on every planet.
Yep, you do.
There
Depends
are
on what you're
logs.
looking for. What would you like to know?
I would like to get a hold of, again, if I'm going to grab something specifically to just, hi, here's gifts. Here's something just for dealing with safe for each of the retinue, which is what I would like to do.
So you would like to know like a quartermaster higher
Yeah.
up. Someone who has access to
Or like a
actual...
private collector of weapons, like a bounty hunter type, or
Actually, there's archmagos within the obliterators that are known for keeping, private collections of weaponry of old that have colorful histories. These are guys that have a lightning claw on their coffee table.
But with your history, you actually know one of the administratum people on this planet who has a fetish for weapons, and thus collects them for bookkeeping, like record keeping.
Excellent.
Record keeping.
I thought. Sorry, I thought that he would like use a plasma grenade for a paperweight or something like that.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Any ancient weapon. Like,
Why not?
Yeah, and I need a better name than that. No, better name. Yeah, that's better. He's called Navid, and he is a senior administratum officer here. And
Greetings,
ID.
greetings, Naveed. I come to trade.
Yeah, so you set up an appointment in his office, and he receives you. His office is lined with cogitators manned by servitors who are transcribing records of mostly by a glance furnace reports, like forging reports of the production numbers. And behind him is a enormous glass wall with cabinets filled with weapons, all kinds. And he greets you.
Salutations.
Kifkin.
It's been a while.
What brings you here?
Well, I've moved up in the world. And
Are you a senior administratum now? Or are you still with the Inquisition?
The inquisitorial seal now and just have it dangle?
Oh, you pointed out, like, he's been fascinated by your pistol all the time and just ignored the... congratulations or condolences? What?
Yes.
Okay.
So, I'm going to safe and going to have to be facing off against the greenskin threat there.
Are there greenskins there? I thought
yes.
they were in their own territory.
No, it as greenskins are wont to do. They're looking for a fight. The closest thing is that outpost. So they're threatening it as per usual. I am in need of some quite literal firepower. What you got?
I can give you access to armories.
Anything.
How
with
many men do you need to arm?
Quite frankly, I need to arm 3.
He turns around, pulls open a drawer full of guns. What do they like?
I need flame or plasma weaponry.
Ooh, those are a bit harder to come by.
Yeah, do know.
Flamers I can get.
We could help you out putting you... Yes, hello. We could help you out putting you in contact with someone on a refinery planet who has access to some very interesting chemicals.
Actually, I know what I can do. Hey, buddy.
Oh dear.
With this position comes some fun fringe benefits. And I know your need for collecting. So here's what I can do. Give me your pick of the collection, and I can get you a writ of warrant. You can use your ties, requisition a ship to get here, fly the stars, and get whatever Xenos technology your grubby little hands can get its hands on. And you have permission to full trade.
I preferred my offer, Kipkin.
I'll take it.
Noted.
Just for 3 persons. So 6 weapons, 2 each.
Yeah.
4 people.
4 people. That would be 8.
All right.
Weapons.
We're actually janitor.
No. That was not my counting.
8.
We can discuss this later. 8 weapons.
8, as long as it's not all the rare pieces.
Fine. You got an eviscerator?
Yes.
Taking that. I have a zealot. So. All right. What plasma weapons you got?
I've got several pistols of different ages. One plasma gun, and also a rare plasma cannon, which, well, you would need to fit it on a tank, but it's in the hold.
Not gonna need something that takes out tanks. That's what guardsmen are for. But the gun and 2 of the pistols.
Okay, that makes 4.
I think we should take that cannon just in case. I am sure I can find something to attach it to.
I'd rather find another heavy flamer.
I don't have enough ammunition to fire it more than once, the cannon. It takes special containers, and it's a collectible. It's not an army.
I'm familiar with ampules, and we're probably not going to find many out here. It would take gravitating into either a Rhino or a Chimera in order for it to be powered, and I doubt they have that on the frontier. However, you do make a good point, Matilda. I can put it on the gun cutter. Got it. So we'll take the cannon.
If the mission, if you were to leave the system, if you don't need a cannon anymore, it would be nice to get back in the collection, as it's kind of hard to get a new one.
I'll see about making sure it gets back to you.
Okay. What else?
Do you have any specialist grenades, bombs, munitions of that type?
I do have some in my collection. They don't fascinate me as much as projectile weapons, but...
That's good, because I don't believe I could return them once we've used them.
No, I wouldn't expect you to.
Do you still have Bertha?
Yes.
I would like the melt-a-bomb, please.
Just be careful with her.
Okay.
Because it's a one use, but you want to aim it the right way.
Yeah, I know. But if I have to breach an orc ship, this is how I'm doing it. Fail, I can kill a freaking orc war boss with this thing. Anyhow, yeah, that and 3 plasma grenades. This should do. Pulls up out of sleeve. He already had the warrant of trade in hand. Tosses it in the guy's desk.
The first thing he does is scan its legitimacy.
Oh, it's legit. It even has the inquisitorial code on it. Has to.
And he returns you a trade agreement, like as in for this trade, the writ for the weapons, receipt, so to say.
A little
Certainly.
receipt for us, including please return
As per
cannon
protocol.
when done.
Yeah. Good news, though. I'll be seeing you around. I have a feeling once whatever this system's done, we'll be crossing paths again. Take care.
I
old
look
friend.
forward to it. I would love to go over the specifics of weapon bookkeeping again, like old times.
Certainly. Emperor be praised. Good tidings to you, Captain.
Friend, before I go, have you heard any interesting news regarding the Emperor's proceedings in this area? You know, the little birds that like to deliver messages to people such as yourself.
As far as I've heard, people have been doing their prayers properly. At least my staff has, as is protocol.
Of course. Nothing exceptional to mention, though.
No. Yeah, you can roll me an
Very
insight.
well. Okay. I would like to do that. My insight is +5. It's a D20 we roll, right?
Yeah.
21.
Yeah, he seems sincere.
Okay. Have a good day. And thank you for your assistance.
Anytime. You can come by and visit anytime. I'll be here for at least another 100 years.
Here's hoping. And she'll follow after Kipkin.
All right. Well, that was a plus.
Do you require anything else?
No, I need required to get off this planet.
No additional shielding, armor for personnel, or for the ship itself. It is a forged planet, after all.
Most orc weaponry will eat right through whatever armor you got. Especially if they have one weird boy, armor means just about jack. Cover, as the Imperial Primer says, is your best friend, your mate, the one thing that keeps you alive. That's why you see so many Imperial Guardsmen practically glued to a wall.
Well, I would like to make our walls extra thick, but if you do not believe that would work, then let's go.
Anything short of a Bane blade ain't gonna really do much.
Let's get back to the ship. I can only imagine what Vasily is up to in the mood that you left him in. And I imagine she's seen on the display Vasily just kicking off in the dojo, figuring out some energy.
Yeah. So, Jason, what has Vasily done in the dojo?
Absolutely savaged some training dolls. Like, he's literally like, if he used his chainsword at the beginning. He carved them as best he could. As soon as the chainsword ran out of fuel, he actually threw it to the side and started like tearing them apart with his hands as best he could. That got a little in the way of his coat, so he's basically shed down to his pants and undershirt, and he hasn't fired his flamer once throughout the whole proceedings. He's just kind of brawling with... Yeah.
So you've been brawling with one of the mechanical training dummies.
Yeah.
All right. I chopped up some of the others. So that's what you'll find when you get back to the ship. An exhausted Vesely and two training dummies badly not wounded but damaged.
Yeah, you actually probably, as you're hearing, he's just bashing the head of one of the mechanical dummies against like a corner in the wall before stumbling back and just sort of sitting down.
Yeah.
Walking in with the eviscerator over his shoulder and the plasma pistol in hand. With Matilda at his side. Oh, good. You might be able to actually take on an orc boy. Tosses him the plasma pistol.
Pick it up. Fire it at the one that was just beaten into a corner.
All right, roll me a d20.
Will do.
Please don't miss.
12.
Just don't roll a 1.
Yeah.
As you you fire it and it fires, but it doesn't have any force behind it, and it just trajectories to the floor and starts burning a hole into the floor. You've never welded a plasma weapon, have you?
You buy it, Vasily.
Remember why I don't like plasma weaponry? Just put it back to his side and just... You see him sort of mouthing something, but he's just kind of...
And Kifkin knows you need to have actually proper training with plasma weapons to get it to fire where you aim it.
You're going to need a train. Also, that wall needs to be reinforced. In the meantime, since I have a distinct feeling we're going to end up fighting at least one knob. Here you go. Lugs this giant thing over.
It looks like a two-handed chainsword.
Happy birthday to you.
Actually, I was wondering if I would know anything about eviscerators from the history of the Imperial Guard or anything like that.
You have any priestly lore?
I have ecclesiarchal lore and Adeptus Militarum history.
Roll the first one.
Ecclesiarchal lore. Okay.
Yes.
Hiya. Well, that's... You know what? No, I'm going to use a luck point on that for this session.
Okay.
I'm not rolling a 2. That's crazy. Haha.
You're rolling an 11. It's better. You get the plus 10. You get the plus 10.
11.
I have it on good authority. This was used by one of the sisters, Repenta, before she died.
So, Jason, what's your total?
With that, luck in this game is that you keep the second result no matter what, right?
Yes, but you get the plus 10 if it's
11.
under 11.
Yeah. 11,
So
and that's it.
There's no bonus. No, you don't have a skill bonus.
Right. I forgot that it's cumulative. 21 then.
Blackjack.
Black.
So 21. With 21, you will know that a weapon like this would have been used by Adeptus Sororitas, Sisters of Battle. There's some Space Marines that might also use similar weapons, and it's not just a large chainsword, but it also has a disruption field similar to a power weapon. And you know that you don't want the Sisters of Battle to see you with it. It used to belong to one of them, so they ask questions. But it's up to you if you
would have preferred something more Vestroyan. He gets up and sort of rolls his shoulders, grips at the base of it.
Against mega armor, as those boys say, you need something that can cut through it.
You obviously don't know Vestroyan craftsmanship. He's going to start... Oh, yeah, no. Duh. I've been given this giant chain sword. Of course I'm going to start using it.
All right. Roll me an attack roll against the training dummy.
I think Matilda's very
which
quietly...
level do you set the training dummy to before you attack it?
Middle high.
It goes from 1 to 10.
1 to 10? Let's give it a 10. Why not?
All right. You can roll me an attack roll with close combat or fighting, and it's capped. I think it's an effect rank 10, so you are capped at a +2 attack roll.
Okay.
Matilda would like to leave the boys playing with their toys because she has no interest in this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And Matilda was worried about the janitor and the artifact.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's a list. It's a list of things she is worried about.
All right. So usually I get a +4 for chain weapons, but with a +2, that'll be a 16 to hit.
A 16. Which level did you put it on?
I think I put it at 10.
At 10. It actually dodges.
Oh. Fair enough.
And you can go again. And until you hit it. And as soon as you hit it, without any effort, it cleaves it in half. You don't even feel any resistance. And the training dummy is broken.
All right. So second swing was a 6. How about a 17? Does that hit?
Yes. So on the third swing, you cleave it in half. And Kifkin knows that it will take a long time to repair this.
Yeah.
You just hear him.
Go through too many dummies. In the meantime, I was just strength training.
He'll shut it off and keep it on his shoulder. You can suggest whatever you like, Master Inquisitor.
You're going to attract a lot of attention with that.
You're implying that I don't already.
I know how orcs work. You've got the biggest sword. You need to train.
A good thing I know. A good thing I know how to kill orcs, then.
Yes, very good. Now we'll see what our new friend has found.
So,
yeah.
You leave with that, or?
Yeah.
All right. So, cleric, Kat, what?
Yes.
Donnie will come into the hold about 20 minutes into your investigation, I think, if I'm correct with my time. What does he see you do at that point?
He sees the janitor, one of the arms coming out, the one with the very fine, almost surgical tools, and with a pair of tweezers or pickups. Very carefully take just the tiniest of flakes off of the helmet turn around to one of the servo skulls and feed it the flake, just like he's feeding a child a treat or whatever. Just kind of the skull opens up and he just places it in like he's feeding it a treat and comes back, and so it can run all of the tests.
You can
that he wants run on it.
actually to actually get the material out of it, you will have to roll me a technology.
Alrighty.
If your tools are strong enough, with a -2 penalty to your normal bonus.
Okay, well, I do have... I opened up the wrong document. Get rid of that. Improvised tools. I can ignore circumstance.
That's why you get the -2 instead of more.
Okay. So technology. Got it. So 30?
A 30. You managed to... It takes a lot more effort than you were expecting, but you do manage to extract like a tiny piece of material.
Yeah, we're talking, maybe a micron, a couple of microns thick, and
more than that would be practically impossible with your tools.
Right. So the micron, and again, just kind of the hand comes up and feeds it to the skull, the servo skull, and then the other servo skull has flown over to greet Donnie, and is currently doing a scan of Donnie because they haven't had a chance to do that yet.
Yeah.
And he'll eventually get the same kind of out that Vasily got.
Yeah, so Donnie steps in and there's a bit of a sigh of relief, and he lets you scan him. What info does that give you of him?
If they already have any biological implants or bionic implants, and defects and suggested improvements. Also, overall health, strength, that type of thing, and a list of improved dietary and exercise regimes.
Okay. Donnie does not have any implants. He is very fit, as in trained military fit, and suggested implants would be to complement, to strengthen his strengths, which could be exoskeleton, enhanced vision, and the like. Anything to enhance combat capability, as he is wearing black carapace inquisitorial armor.
It would also increase upgrades to both the heart and the lungs to improve stamina, to go with improved strength.
If you write it all down, you would get a Space Marine list of enhancements.
Okay, that's what prints out and is waiting for him to take it.
He will grab it and he will take a post in the corner of the room, just sitting down, not saying anything, and letting
please feel
you do your work.
free to, if you, without even looking at him or acknowledging his existence, the only acknowledgement would be, if you wish to have any of those improvements made, please do let me know. I would be happy to take care of that for you. And just continues on with their testing.
Thank you. I hope not to get wounded anytime soon, so I don't need him.
Oh, one need
any
be
news
wounded
yet?
to upgrade. As far as
The
news
investigation.
regarding
The helmet?
yes, thank you.
In the 20 minutes, you
Multiple news
wouldn't have had much info yet. So
I can tell you that it's an alloy. It's copper. I believe there may be iron. That's about all I've got for you right now.
That's as far as I would understand, anyway. Just don't do anything stupid like that. The guy on the refinery. I mean, he practically killed himself. I said, be careful.
The head rotates.
I said, be
The
careful.
head rotates 180 degrees to look at him. Are you questioning my abilities
No, I'm.
or my intelligence?
I don't think I'm smart enough to do that. So I'm just saying, don't get yourself killed by.
The man was a simpleton. I am not.
And he'll.
And the
stay
head
quiet.
turned right back around 180 degrees to go back to what he was doing.
And then it will take some time for you to get the rest of the results we discussed. And then until Kifkin and Matilda return to the ship, do they both go to the janitor? Or do they wait like a report? Or
No, Kifkin's getting impatient, just this entire process.
So, Kat, as long as you don't put the helmet on you or any of the janitors, Donnie will just sit and watch.
Okay. Yeah. Probably not. Might reestablish the containment field with just themselves and the helmet in it, and literally bang on it.
Yeah, like the simple investigations. Like, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, various
That
cameras,
would actually be
tuning,
the perfect point for Kifkin to come back in the room.
tuning fork comes out. Ting!
like seeing that happen as you come back into the room. While the servitors are buzzing around with their own calculations.
I see we've gotten to the percussive part of the investigation.
Yes, it's actually flat. One would expect perfect pitch.
Fascinating. So, any more news as to composition, history, dating, etc.?
Well, I do have a few more pieces of information. It would seem that the strain of iron within the alloy, there are other metals, I'm still working on identifying those. The strain of alloy actually comes from my planet here, came on as 6, but it predates the arrival of ourselves by 600 years. So it's clearly quite old. I do believe it was cast. It was not forged or but it was cast as a mold. Yes, although it's a very, very fine casting, it was made for a skull similar to yours, but about 20 to 30% larger. There may have been some type of interior padding, but I can't quite tell. It's very, very old. Very, very old. Let me see now. Yes, it's it has a very stable and odd magnetic field. It's very still. Just surrounds it almost like a shield, a deflection. It's very interesting. I'm looking forward to further experiments on that. Yes, and I actually cannot date the artifact at this time. It's going to. I need more tools. I need my tools. I need my lab. Is it possible?
Well, since I just requisitioned you secular detachment for your defense and accompaniment, I
have my own defenses. The bolter comes up and is now
Yeah,
Pointing
no,
to
that's
Kifkin's
fabulous, but you're going to be aiding us in the field, as I suspect there are more artifacts. And
that sounds exciting.
as such, you might want to add this on to your additions. Pulls out plasma gun, not the pistol gun. Sets it down. I'm certain with your capabilities, you can run it off your own internals. But
Yes.
I would requisition whatever pieces you need from your lab, bring them on board. We can set you up in one of the empty industrial bays.
There's already a list. You should find it attached to your personal files.
See. In the meantime, continue on with your processing, and I would also suggest you meet with your new security detail. Also,
right.
you have permission to inquire and learn about specific histories within the Great Crusade. I would suggest looking over the Interrex.
Well,
I
I would.
be dealing
So
with
I do
either
have.
one of the Adeptus
I do have my own
Astartes.
clearance.
I'm giving you specific clearance for access to histories involving the Great Crusade, including the composition, armament, and complement of the Astartes legions and the forces they were facing during the Great Crusade. That is all.
Are you familiar with the level of clearance that a janitor has in a system like this?
You have access to everything pretty much here. I have access to everything. Is it locked by the Inquisition?
You're not familiar with the library.
I'm familiar with plenty
access
of
to that library. Yes, well, I have access to that library, but thank you very much. I do appreciate the thought implied in your permission. Now then, where was I? Oh, yes. Oh, there's another little project I'd like to tinker with. I hope you don't mind. I also included it in the list of things that I would be requisitioning. A specific hand grenade, if you will, one with the Emperor's blessing on it.
I will review the files later. I would definitely suggest rereading the section over the Interrex, as well as the Emperor's children, and then leaves.
Vasily's just standing in the corner with Dawn the whole time.
Kifkin will also find that his own personal readout for suggested improvements will be with the list of requisitioned items, tools, etc.
Yeah, you can pretty much get your proper tools from sent to the ship within a day. So what's the plan for now for the rest?
Plan is to get our secutors on board, get the janitors' tools and requirements on board, then get flying.
Okay.
As we do, I want to send a second message off to the Imperial Navy contingent on the borders of Seaf, letting them know when to expect our arrival. Also, I would like to get a report from them as soon as possible as to composition and complement of both their forces and whatever freebooter forces are in the area.
Okay.
I want to know just what kind of greenskin threat we're facing.
Yeah, we'll take some time to get you those details, probably as you drop out of the warp. unless you actually wait a week before going into warp.
Oh no, we're not waiting.
Okay. Because during warp you can't really receive or send any messages. You'll have to send it before.
Yeah.
And so let's see. It will take about 2 days to get everything on board and ready to ship off. Your navigator will have the route planned out by then as well, so the ship can be prepared. Will take a couple of hours to get into the proper entry position. So, is there anything your individual character would like to do? Train.
In the meantime, the primary thing to do is to take whatever additional or spare armor aboard this vessel and go to the dojo and reinforce all the walls. I want to be able to handle plasma fire. Also, whatever Vasily does.
Yeah. Okay. Most of the walls there are made of energy resistant material for the Alaskan practice that happens there a lot. Alaskan and Helgun fire. So it will take quite a bit of material to line them.
Yeah, we're pretty much at this point. Kifkin has a feeling just in his gut that he kind of knows where this is going, so he's going to busy himself with something that he usually doesn't do unless he's very stressed: manual labor.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's something you can do. That's sure. Kat, does the janitor do anything before the equipment arrives on the ship?
Before the equipment arrives on the ship,
because
we'll continue running.
it's about the equipment will be here around the same time that you'll be starting travel. So.
Oh, okay. Before, no. Without their equipment, there's not much they can't do. They'll continue on running whatever tests that they can, trying to identify the alloys, the metals within the alloy, and probably running more experiments regarding the magnetic properties, the magnetic field around it. At some point when they're pretty sure nobody's looking, if they're the only ones left in the room, one of the servo skulls will be wearing the helmet at some point, just because he wants to see how it sits on a skull. And there's only one way to really do that. And that's by sitting it on a skull.
Okay.
Because he wants to take the measurement
in a moment.
And then, but yeah, continuing to running whatever tests they can with the limited abilities they have. They'll take apart the plasma gun, put the plasma gun back together, and then when they have their tools, they'll attach it to themselves.
Okay. Jason? What any new things Vasily does during these 2 days?
He'd try the plasma weapon a couple of times just to see if he could acclimate to it. Doesn't do it nearly enough as he does with screwing around with the eviscerator. Like, he's absolutely obsessed with like cleaning the chains and making sure that it's in good working condition. He's using it with like tandem exercises, just feeling the weight of it in relation to his own and trying to see what maneuvers he can carry over from when he simply had his chainsword. He still keeps his chainsword by his side, but this is just sort of a thing on his person. At some point, I think he might talk to Matilda about their mutual discomfort with certain people aboard the ship. But I'll leave that for.
Well, I'll first go to Matilda, and then you can have that conversation.
Exactly.
We still have a bit of time today, as the next show will start in like 40 minutes anyway. So.
Sure.
Matilda, before Vasily comes to you with that, is there anything you are doing?
Matilda, for the most part, is actually probably staying in her quarters, and she's doing some mind-focusing work. She's kind of got it at the moment where her brain is kind of turned on to catch the general frequencies going on around her on the ship, because she's fairly open with the mines aboard the ship, but now the Genesis here, she's becoming more insular again, and so she's practicing mind shielding, especially given the experiences down on the previous planet. But once she's done practicing closing, she wants to practice opening, and she wants to see just how far she can push her sensing out. And she's just like, can I find an orc? Can I find an orc?
Okay.
And just
Well, you can roll me a psychic check.
okay.
Just to see if...
I mean, she's not looking into the warp again, so I don't know why you're all shaking your head.
Yeah.
A 2? How does a 2
A
do
2.
me?
A 2...
What's my modifier on that?
it means...
Oh, I didn't get a modifier, right.
yeah, but you
12.
need 5 or higher to succeed in the first place. So
Shitty.
a 2 will not send you into a mental breakdown, but it will make you very angry with yourself that you cannot push yourselves beyond the I think it's continent, right? Which would be the ship.
Planet.
But you're in the ship above the planet.
But she can't even get...
Yeah, so you can push out of the ship a bit into the station, and then you feel the restraint of the distance from your body coming in. Which probably upsets you a lot.
Yeah, she gets pretty annoyed when she can't do something.
And
she'll probably still just stay in her room and just be watching everyone on the monitors move around the ship. Be rolling her eyes heavily as they fuck about in the armory and in the training dojo with all of those things.
Yeah.
Watch the navigator plotting the course. Check on the janitor, make sure that helmet's going nowhere near any heads. And I think occasionally get annoyed when she checks in on the janitor and she can't get the screen to work, because I imagine there's some magnetic interference going on. There's
you can't
all sorts of
see through
bullshit
the
going on.
stasis fields, pretty much.
And I think that's just going to add to her annoyance and her feeling of like loss of fine detail control. And so generally, like, if she's called upon, she's not going to be answering calls. It's literally like, you can come the way to the room to come talk to me, but that's it. I'm not talking to you any other way.
And at one point, you probably see Vesely walking up to your door.
Oh, good. A visitor.
Would Donnie be in the room at this point, or would he still be on guard there all the time?
I imagine he's doing prep kind of like everyone else would be, so he's either on janitor watch or working out or...
Yeah. Then I would imagine he would be...
Especially if Matilda's in a bad mood,
pistol.
he's probably like, don't want to be in that room right now. She's in a bad mood.
Dark. Do not knock.
Would Kifkin give Donnie one of the plasma weapons as well to try?
Oh, he would be getting a plasma pistol.
Yeah. All right,
Most
so
definitely.
then he'll be practicing with that, because it's completely different way of handling a las pistol.
So Matilda sees Vasily approach, and she'll actually open the door, like, kind of as he gets to it. Yes, Vasily?
Is it wrong that I don't know what to call you nowadays? He's carrying the eviscerator on his shoulder, so he's just kind of cocked his head to the side.
You may call me Madam Inquisitor still if it makes you feel better.
Clear delineation of responsibility. We appreciate that. Well, we did, at least. Most times. Might I come in?
How many voices are in your head right now, Vasily?
Last count 15. And only because they were ghosts. Particularly loud.
Ghosts tend to be loud. Matilda will step back and let you into the room. Is there a reason you come here armed, Vasily?
I'm always armed. I have 2 of them. I suppose I should have extra. I make sure that the eviscerator doesn't, like, scrape the door frame, because I'm assuming this is an absurdly large weapon. Like, at least as tall as Vasily.
I'm hoping it's like a Warcraft epic level weapon where it's just ridiculously enormous and glowing constantly.
If you
Yeah.
want to see one, just Google image search Sister Repenta.
Sister.
So they-
I'll actually link it in the stream chat.
That
Awesome.
might do me well. Yeah, gotta get there first. So don't link it just yet.
Did I not
All right.
bounce you hard enough around the dojo before?
I must say you're very, very well versed in giving me a thrashing in more ways than one. He'll set the eviscerator sort of on a table in the room.
Mm-hmm. There's like a writing desk. There's literally no pens or papers or pads or anything on it.
He'll set it on there and look to Matilda. I do wonder, though, if that same energies would be directed to someone other than myself, should the need arise.
Whom in particular have you come to lecture me on today, Vasily?
I do not lecture. I speak with I would say equal, but I suppose it's been confused now. What with Kifkin's battlefield promotion.
Are you feeling left out, Vasily?
I'm feeling great concern.
Are you longing for gold stars?
Stars do not matter to the Emperor. They will not matter to me.
Stars matter a great deal to the Emperor. Particularly the ones he owns. The ones
imply
that
that
people
there
try
are-
to take from him.
You imply that there are stars that do not belong to the Emperor.
I imply there are stars currently beyond his reach. But they
Oh.
will be his.
A different heresy it is, then. Don't worry. He'll just sort of look to the eviscerator and kind of put a hand on it.
Is it
Far
my
lesser.
heresy that is concerning you or someone else's?
Who do you think?
Vasily, I believe you could take issue with everyone on this ship given more than 2 seconds to consider it, as could nearly anyone. However, I believe you are here to talk about the janitor, so why not begin? Or perhaps you'd like to talk about Donnie. It was a popular topic of conversation between us previously.
Previously, but currently, we'll stick to our cases. I know you share concerns.
They are not concerns, they are concrete problems.
Problems, yes. The question then becomes how to solve them, should they worsen.
I am a sanctioned psyker. They are a sanctioned machine.
Even in performing their function, machines can, at times, become unruly. And this machine demonstrates curiosity. Curiosity
Yes.
that might lead to worse heresies.
To stop a sanctioned psyker, you need to stop a sanctioned mind. To stop a sanctioned machine, you take it apart, and then you destroy those parts. The machine has taken to scanning all of us and making suggestions for improvements I suggest maybe, Vasily, you consider a way that we might scan them in return. And build a plan for best dismantling its improvements.
Matilda.
I cannot do so with my mind as I would usually like to. I cannot read it the way that I can read others. It is numbers. It is a confusing creation system to me.
They are, indeed. But all at once...
You have a new toy that I believe will be as effective against a janitor as it will against an orc boy.
Fair enough, fair enough.
So you asked me what my plan would be. My plan would be Vasily to say, go, go, kill, kill, and hope that you could do so. And if that didn't work, and then I would address a plan that you had given me for dismantling such a thing. Does that not reassure you?
I must say, Matilda, the world that you and Kifkin occupy, it does have problems of severe magnitude, but the solutions seem so simple. Go to the planet, kill the war boys, kill the war boss, if at all possible. Order someone else to do the dirty work.
That is Kipkin's plan, although I believe there is some nuance to it involving trade.
And, as we all know, orcs amongst all of the Xenos are interested in economics.
I believe they are interested in shiny things the way that you are interested in fire. Do you not have a simplistic way of considering things too, as an Incinerant? Do you not simply burn the heretics that stand before the Emperor, that do not yield? Do you not melt them until they are nothing more than a molten puddle? Praise be the Emperor.
Praise be. And while that is true, of course, if you think I only destroy the body, or seek to destroy the body, I suppose that rather of a reductive view.
I understand that you would like to destroy the soul too, and that it is the flame that cleanses such a thing.
The soul is important, yes. No. I seek to eradicate histories. That the Xenos blight, the blights against this Imperium, be they demon or even human at times, be burned away. To be used as ash, fertilizer, for the glorious new souls to come. Matilda, I will admit I was, and at times am, distrustful of your abilities. But you understand perfectly well. Ignorance is bliss. It is a virtue and our best defense against that which would seek to consume us. Albucasis does not have this fear. And if they venture too far, I fear we would not be able to bring them back.
Vasily, I am not sure of your purpose here. You do not require my permission. I am fairly sure if you wish to do something, it would take me great strength to stand in your way. And in the case of Janitor Albucasis, I have very little reason to be a block in your path. Is it that you seek me to order you? Is it that you seek some codified agreement between us? The Inquisitor Kifkin is your superior. Is it that you seek my permission because you wish to supersede what Kifkin may deem as valuable within the Janitor?
He'll just pause, look to the Eviscerator. I shall show them what I can of the Emperor's justice, mercy, love, and light. But if these lessons are not enough, I need to know that those who are by my side will still stand in that love, light, justice, and mercy.
Kifkin worked very hard to acquire that weapon for you. Specifically sought out an upgrade for you. Have faith, Vasily. See your gold star. You are valued and trusted and vital. You may not be an Inquisitor, but you are a part of an Inquisitorial squad, hand-chosen by not one but two Inquisitors now. That comes with its own power. Its own power to decide comes with responsibility and consequence. But it is evidence of the Emperor's faith in you. To be his hand, to be his flame.
Suspicion begets
You should quiet
doubt.
your own doubts. You should quiet your own doubts about yourself. You push them towards all of us too hastily. Believe me, we do not consider you as often as you consider yourself. But you are important, and you are a part. It may seem conflicting as a statement, but it is nonetheless true. And as for the Janitor, I agree. The curious mind is a dangerous thing. And the Janitor has been let off of a leash to pursue its pursuits, to seek out its curiosities, because it pushes forwards what is understood and what is known. For us, for the Emperor, for the others it has served. For as long as they are useful, they are here and they are protected by Kifkin. But there is a line that we will all face, that we have faced before. Now, Vasily, you are interrupting me. Are you done with your business here?
I suppose I am. He'll pick up the Eviscerator and almost cradle it in his arms and look to Matilda once more. Doubt and suspicion has kept me alive for so long. That and fearlessness.
All right, Vasily, let me give you one more thing before you go. And she will lead you to a chair. And what she would like to try and do, Bastian, is to reach into Vasily's mind to a memory of him and what he would consider his family. She's looking for family. That's the energy, that's the word. And she wants to push that memory into the forefront of his mind as if it's present and allow Vasily to relive a moment. You can try and resist, but that is what she's going to try and do.
Yeah.
So yeah, he is.
First thing you'll have to do is roll me a psycho check.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
Okay.
Yep.
So, you do get to use the power, which is always nice, and you will roll an opposed will, and depending on the difference, you get to read minds. And Vasily can instantly roll me a perception with a DC of 20, I believe.
Yeah.
To see if you notice her using the power on you, because it's a subtle power.
Okay. Hey. 24.
24. So,
Yeah.
and the difference is who won? That's the question. The willpower contest.
I rolled a nat 20.
Okay, and Jason rolled a.
And I rolled a a 15, and I have no points in will.
Okay.
So
Mine goes up to like a 30 with my points.
a 30. So that's a difference of 3 degrees, which means you can access his memory. But it depends on how long Jason takes to speak out against. Because you instantly notice she's probing your mind and she's getting deep into it instantly.
as soon as Matilda does, there will be a moment where he considers, and you'll note this, Matilda, where he considers starting the eviscerator. But with where you're actually going, he stops because there are names that come to the forefront. I actually have a list.
Okay, you can actually call them out, because that's where you'll have to help me with the memory she's accessing.
She is accessing the memory of what some would consider to be their darkest hour. He considered to be his brightest moment. While on Kulth, his regiment, the 55th Vostroyan Firstborn, traveled for a time with the 237th Mordian Siege Regiment. He was eminently familiar with soldiers on both sides because he ministered to them, led them into battle, and yes, acted as brother, sister, or sibling to each. The 237th and the 55th were ambushed. The Severn Dominant completely obliterated a good portion of them whilst they traveled to resupply. Vasily was caught in the initial blast. It shattered most of his body. The pockmarks on the legs you finally see as through flashes, you see him blown from a chimera, and you see the impact marks of the metal in his legs and across his chest. There's darkness for a time, and then he is awoken. You see 15 faces and 15 names pass. Vakrova, Katarina, Bershov, Vadim, Zinon, Galina, Vitomir, Lukian, Nicholas, Loktionov, Valery, Terekov, Sofia Yarina, and the one that is remembered with the most fondness, the one survivor from the 237th, Annalise. They scrounged together what they could as a family and initiated a retaliatory attack. One that saw a Severin dominant outpost completely razed to the ground. Personnel, vehicles, and all. And you note during that Vasily feels like a proud father. A servant of the Emperor, leading the charge. Not a one of his children fell. And these were the 15 that he spoke to when you first called him. Vasily would try to relax, and throughout it all you'd hear muttered prayers to the Emperor. But he wouldn't stop you.
Matilda, for her part, remains silent, focusing on channeling her psychic energy to allowing the memory to grow. Although she is confused by its tragic nature, it wouldn't be a happiest memory she would choose. But when you're delving into other people's minds, you don't get to choose. You just get to find. And she'll let Vasily wander through the memory as he wishes, not wanting to push it too hard, not sure where the limit is for herself as much as anything. And also not wanting to push him back towards wishing to start the Eviscerator.
The tragic lead-up turns to celebration. Many of the 55th, when they returned to the Vostroyan regiment, were lauded. They were given drinks. They were celebrated. Some were decorated, but others were simply given a stiff pat on the back and a good time. Vasily facilitated some of this enjoyment, securing for them extra rations and such. But in the more quiet moments is where you find him being happy. Because similar to yourself and Donnie, you find him and Annalise working closer together. It's professional at first, then personal. In those moments, you find that his prayers begin to slow and become more reverent, not as hastened and warlike. Prayers for contentment, prayers for protection. You'd almost think it sweet were it not still tinged with that zealotous fervor. If you probe any further than that, you start to feel him actively try to pull away.
That's about the moment where in the corner of your eye you see the janitor removing the servo skull from the helmet. And an alarm goes off, and the speaker declares preparation for warp jump. As red lights go off around the ship, and the ship is preparing to close its shields and go to warp, which we'll do next week on Inquisitor, because I think this is a perfect cliffhanger to end on. Awesome session. It's my short compliment. Yeah. So I enjoyed today. So let's go around our cast and crew. Well, we'll end on me, but I already said what I thought of today. Let's go around our cast, and so the next show can also start in time, because stick around. After us will be, I'm gonna let Charlie say that, because I'm...
It is Season 2, Learn to Play, with the wonderful DM Corey and cast. So if you enjoy good old D&D 5e, stick around for all the fun and games that the cast are going to be bringing to you at around 6 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, in around 8 minutes.
7 minutes.
7 minutes, yeah. Or it's an eternity if you're stuck in a warp. So let's go around our cast. See if you enjoyed today. Where can we find you online? And let's start with the Silence to Prisons of the Last Scene, starting with Kat, Cleric of Court.
Hi, I'm Kat. I'm at Cleric of Court, and that's where you can find me on Twitter. If you're looking for me on Twitch, you can find me here on Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays playing tabletop games. I'm always blown away by the depth of the RP with Jason and Charlie and Pope. Just every single time just blows me away. It's incredible. You guys are amazing, and something that I continue to aspire and strive to do, to achieve. I will be back. I have a pinned tweet on my Twitter page. Go check it out. That'll tell you where I'm at. Just a quick note, there will not be a Deck of Many Worlds this week, but we will, the gods willing, have our next episode of Nibiru playthrough this Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And then on Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern is our Greyhawk game with DM Kevin Hitt. And that is a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Got some great people in that game. So thank you for coming out and watching. And we'll see you next week.
Yeah. All right. Next in line, Pope.
Oh, it's so good to be back. Fantastic way to start off the new season, and just a fantastic way to end. So, as for me, I'm Pope World Build on Twitter, World Build on the Twitch. You can find me in all of your RP streams lurking. As for where you can find me, if it's not somewhere with tabletop, I don't know where. But tomorrow there may be, fingers crossed, a long march over on Role Players TV, where you will see me playing my disaster boy Warren, Fey Pact Warlock, and see what terrible things he gets himself into, and everyone else. Otherwise, just stay tuned, enjoy. For those of you viewing us on YouTube, love you as well. If you can, come and join us on Mondays. And I look forward to seeing you all here next week for more Inquisitor.
All right. Next up, Jason.
Hi. That was yet again just another brilliant session. I don't know what you're talking about, Cleric. You did absolutely marvelous with Abucasis. I cannot wait to find out more about their character and their endeavors, especially if they delve into the heretical, because, oh no. Yes, much love. Again, Kifkin just doing Kifkin things casually. And with Matilda, that was good to finally get that shot, because it's always a privilege to share an interaction with any of the people on this channel. Be sure to keep watching this space on Mondays at 2 p.m. CST and all the... Or no, not 2 p.m. CST, 1 p.m. CST, and like all the other time zones. Just check the pinned tweet and check for announcements by following Encounter Roleplay on Twitter. Again, if you're joining us on YouTube, hi. Thank you all for coming out to watch and see Vasily actually substantively deal with some of his baggage, which we'll see how that translates next week. But yeah, that'll be good. That was just a marvelous time. Thank you, Charlie. Thank you, all of y'all. Y'all do a fantastic job, and especially thanks to Bastian, because Duh.
All right, let's finish on Charlie, and then I'll have a final word after.
All the backstory today, which is something I love, especially now that we're in the second season with most of these characters. I feel really bad for Cleric because we spent a lot of that time dunking on the wonderful janitor, but I am so fascinated to see where our new teammate is going to lead us, because I'm sure it's a merry dance down the rabbit hole. Props to everyone here on the team. Very excited to be playing again. For me, there's no cult this week. We're back next week with that. But if you want to check out some fun RP like we have here, come over to RPG Webby's channel, where we are playing After the Fire at 4 p.m. Eastern on Thursdays. Continuing that adventure this week. It's Game of Thrones, but it's 100 years before the series, just after the first Blackfire Rebellion. And it's all good stuff. Thank you, Bastian, for today. Had a great time. I don't think I have anything else to say. I have a pinned tweet for all my other good stuff going on. But yeah, just super excited to be playing again today and to do some deep dive into character backstory stuff, which is always fun. Right before we go into warp towards the Orc Boys. I'm excited for that clash of the Titans. Or smashing of puny humans, as the case may be. Bastian, anything you would like to say?
You can find me online. That's the first one. I'll with the link in chat. I do a bit of tech on this channel and other stuff as well. Look there if you're interested in this kind of stuff. Other than that, I really enjoyed today. For me, it's always a challenge to get back into a storyline and then weaving it into something new. And what really helps me a lot is that you as players actually roleplay a lot, properly. So just watching the conversations and following the characters is what makes this really enjoyable for me. So thank you for that. Looking forward to next week when we'll traverse warp and hopefully exit warp. Else it's going to be a really short season or a really long season in the warp. That's also an option. But who knows? You can only find out next week by watching here or on YouTube. That's it for me. I think we'll send you off into a short waiting screen as the cast is setting up. I think they're about ready. So, anything to add to that, Charlie?
Yeah, I think before we send you off to enjoy the wonderful Learn to Play, Learn by Play coming out with DM Corey next, there is the traditional encounter sign-off, which is try not to roll too many nat ones, because we want to be there laughing when you do. And we will see you soon.
Good night.